Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Well, today I could definitely say I have some huge van envy. I was biking here in Huber Woods, up by Middletown, New Jersey, and in rolls Jesse here with this really cool Mercedes Benz Sprinter four-wheel drive van, and he's willing to give us a tour today and show us inside and out. Hello, Jesse. Welcome to New Jersey Outdoor Adventures.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Jesse. This is my 2019 Sprinter conversion. So 170 non-extended 2500, and yeah, I've been working on it for the last year or so. It's just about done, getting there, but yeah, come take a look. So just starting out here, 17-inch rims. I had a company out in Colorado called Tourig, did the entire exterior. They did everything from the bumpers to roof vents and new suspension system, Fox suspension in there. 4 new leaf springs. Everything was completely done by them, and this thing rides absolutely beautifully. The biggest drive I've done so far was Colorado to Jersey, and I felt like I was in a brand new Cadillac. The Aluminess bumper, super heavy duty, with rigid lights. These things make it look nighttime look like daytime. It's pretty incredible, actually. And again, they did all that. Front totally custom. The wrap job was done by a company that they work with out there in Colorado, and I went with the matte green, but with also like an offset matte black in the middle here, just to kind of, change it up a little bit. Over here, so these steps actually were just like factory options. I kind of, when I was buying it, they just asked if I wanted to throw those on there, and they ended up looking pretty badass, so I figured I'd keep them with the van. Over here, we got Aluminess surfboard racks. I surf and paddleboard, and just use an Allen key to turn those out. These spin out right here, and then I can put a paddleboard on, surfboards, big longboard if I got one, and Aluminess ladder rack on there too. So up here, I've got a 375 solar panel. Produces way more power than I think I'll ever need, but I figured if I'm out for a week or a month or 6 months out somewhere, I want as much as I can get without any kind of problem, so I went with this behemoth. And then, so this rack is actually a custom by Tourig. I was gonna go with an Aluminess rack. Something happened with shipping, and they told me, hey, we actually make our own, and we can custom fit it to the ceiling fans and for the solar panel, and that ended up being one of the better decisions I made with the van. Alright, so here I've got my water fill with locks so that nobody can mess with my water. Here's the exhaust for the hot water and for the heater. Got the leaf springs underneath with the added on suspension system, aftermarket suspension. Like I said, done by Tourig. Here's an Aluminess rear bumper with the, what's it called? The blind spot assist. They integrated that back into the system, which is really nice. Reserve tire, black Rhino. These things are pretty awesome. In here is just a storage. I keep extra fuel in here, and then I'll just, space for anything I might need. So I'll show you in the back. Right. So, a little bit messy. Probably get some of this stuff out of the way, but I guess for here I've got my water heater for cold and hot water for showers and my sink and everything in there. In the back, that's my water filter, so I can drink. I have, you know, potable water in there. And in the back behind there, I don't know if I got a surf rack out of the way. So I got a 40-gallon tank in the back, which again, you know, it's just me and my dog, and that lasts us for a very long time. Over there, I've got my 2,000-watt inverter, and then beneath that is my battery bank, 220 battery, and then to the right is my controller, which all done by Renogy, and it actually hooks up to an app on your phone, and you can monitor your usage and check how much the battery has in it, how much is being used, and all that kind of cool stuff. Up here we have the slots in between for the bed, that way it can like air itself out so it doesn't get like mildewy, and you know, so some of those days when there's a lot of condensation in the air, it just helps the bed breathe, so to speak. Back over here, got my fuse box up on the right, and then I got my cutoff switch down beneath it, and that sets everything to all the different things I have using power in the van. So all this, so the bed frame is 72 by 62 by 60 roughly. I'm about 5'7", so I don't need that much space. It works for me. Those of you who are looking to do this kind of stuff and are a bit taller, I would go with something bigger. And then, yeah, all the wood was custom stuff, but we'll, I guess, get into that when we go inside. Okay, up there, I've got a awning system that comes out and it stands on two legs that open out that can either be plugged into these notches here, so it fully extends, never has to touch the ground, or you could just peg them into the ground like a normal, you know, any normal awning or a tent. This was also part of like just an after factory option from Mercedes. Yeah, they actually ended up looking pretty good. So, interior. All this was, for the most part, done by a company called Patavans. He's out of Colorado as well, and the reason I went with him to do the interior is because, as you can see, the wood inside, not many people do this amount of woodwork interior, as opposed to using like polymers and different glues and plastics and whatnot. I wanted a wood interior. I like it better. Alright, so let me show you inside. So to start, right here, a little pop-up table. Basically, it's like there's not too much space in a van, so you need anything you can get, and this is like a little dinner table kind of deal, or a workstation, something like that. Just folds right back down. Got my controls for my lights. A little hard to see right now, but I got lights up here. There's another set in the back over there I can show you in a bit. Here, got 12 volt, right, for plugins there, USBs, and then your standard plugs there. Everything, all the electric is controlled by a switch right in here on the left. Right. So now we have power to the whole vehicle. Over here, I had the factory seats swapped out for Shieldman seats. Basically, they're swivel seats. I like being able to have somewhere to sit, and when the van is mostly bed, that makes it difficult, so I put these in, and the bottom extends out. The whole thing, it leans back to the point where you can almost lay down fully in it, you know, if you had the space. Come up and back and forth and whatnot. Really great seats if you ever have the opportunity to get them. So the van, when I got it, was a cargo van strictly, and it didn't have any kind of real audio system. So I had this Alpine 10-inch screen put in. Which I might be able to turn that on. It's a big upgrade from just the factory setting, and I'm very much happy with that. I like loud music. So over here, so that's those rigid lights that I was showing you in the front. The one on the left, the front pods, are the ones that light it up like the sun. And then on the right there, I've got rear bumper ones for backing up at night. They do the same thing, but in the rear. And that was all done by Tourig as well. Up here, it's just overhead storage. I have plans to make this actually all cut off and just wood, and make it wood compartments so that I can, you know, put other things in there. Alright, over here, so I'll show you. Spin this around. Over here, this is a support for this table so that I can sit and have dinner, as well as, you know, having somebody else in here. And that's like super easy to put together. It's just a couple of screws and, you know, a piece of wood on a hinge. That didn't take long at all. And also there's power down there. There's another 12 volt and 2 USBs. So if I want to do, if I get to work remote, luckily enough for the day, then I can do it from here or anywhere else in the van. Just lock this back up. So these I put up here. These are the controllers for these roof vents. They're reversible, so I can do air in or air out. Right now I got air going out, so it's pulling, you know, hot air from inside the van out, and I can switch it up. There we go. Air in, you can change the speed of it. It's a super handy system. That's a max air. I got 2 of them, 1 controller for each unit. So I got another one in the back there that we'll see in a minute. Over here, these are actually just the accordion shades that I got from Tourig. So they're magnetic and they're basically built to work with a metal frame. And since I did all wood interior, I kind of can't really do anything magnetic. So I just screwed them in and it works, you know, perfectly to my needs. Up here, I got these little locks here. All wood, simple stuff. This is just how I keep my plates and stuff separated so that when I'm driving they don't all smash together and break. It's how they came originally in the package and it just worked out pretty well. And these are probably my favorite piece though, is these little locks. Every drawer in the vehicle has them, and it's so simple and it works so well. I couldn't imagine spending any more money on something more serious. Over here, got my oven. That works. Oven, 3-top burner. Up here, it's just like, I couldn't imagine not having it anymore after having it. It's been been a couple of weeks since I cooked anything in it, but it's kind of a must-have if you're going with a van like this. Right here, sink, hot and cold water, which is flipped on by here. So as you can hear, the water pump went on. Extendable head, a little bit more pressure. Pretty standard sink, nothing crazy. Also this top, which is kind of cool, it doubles as a cutting board. Like you got the glossy finish up here, and then a cutting board style over here. So even though I have a cutting board separately, there's just a couple shelves that I put up. That's it's me and my dog. Her name's Rory, a 3-year-old little husky. She's my baby. And then up here, just like some tools and stuff like that. I got like a GoPro in there, and knife, some paracord, stuff like that, and little plants and stuff. Under here, I kind of just keep like my toiletries and stuff. I got toilet paper in the back, paper towels, garbage bags, stuff for brushing my teeth, Tylenol, hydrogen peroxide, everything you'd find in your cabinet, above your sink in your bathroom. Here is where I keep my pots and pans. I used to be a chef. I do a lot of cooking, so this is a bit overkill, I'd say, for what you need in a van, but I like to have everything I need. Alright. In here, for refrigerator, there's a couple of beers. I didn't offer you a beer. I feel bad about that now. And little freezer up top. It's more than enough space for my needs. Underneath here, oh, got bad knees. Alright, so I got my toolbox. But underneath, sorry for the noise there, but underneath is just storage. I've got my heating system here that I control from a dial on the other side, which I'll get to in a minute. And the space underneath there was actually kind of a bonus. I thought it was all going to be filled in. And under here, same thing, just more storage space. Got a socket set and stuff. I keep some of the van tools under there, just in case something ever were to happen. Nice big countertop. Depending on what you plan on using it for, I would really think hard about, if you're going to build your own, how much countertop space you actually need. As you can see, I'm not a huge guy, but there's not a terrible amount of space in here. I may have gone a little bit wide, but it's a beautiful countertop, and this was all, like I said before, done by Patavans. They did an exceptional job on the entire interior. We worked on it for like about 4 months, 5 months or so. But up here, there's a cutting board. I keep my knives and cutlery and all that kind of stuff on these plastic non-slip, whatever these are called. So it doesn't bounce around when I'm driving. This is another Tourig shade that I just hooked up this little slide to, because I don't have, like I said, no metal, so I can't use the magnets and stuff. And that just folds down. I don't have this and stuff in there. That keeps out a ton of heat in the summers. It is very, very nice having these in here. And also at nighttime, going to sleep, completely covers up the windows. Don't have to worry about anybody looking in or nothing. Alright, so now the bathroom. Waterproof walls in the shower. I got a curtain that comes around all the way and acts as a door. Got a light switch over on the side. It's easily accessible in case you're already in the shower and you forget to put that on. This is a compost toilet, so it's not hooked up to any tank in the vehicle. The tank is the bottom of it. You use peat moss, and you put it in the bottom, and then this lever over here, that lever down there, basically mixes in the peat moss with, you know, everything you did with the bathroom, and kind of turns it into like a powder, a dried powder. And then at the bottom there, there's those two knobs, a knob down there, one on the other side. Unhook those, take the whole thing out, and then you just go, you know, dump it where you're allowed to dump it. And you know, standard shower head, nothing crazy, and hot water, cold water. I take the toilet out when I'm taking a shower, just because, you know, having to go over that thing's kind of annoying, but it's not an issue. Very easy to take in and out. So over here, so that's a vent that goes out with a little 12-volt battery in there. And that basically just kind of keeps the smell out of the van and goes directly outside the van. So it's just air that's getting pumped out of there. Otherwise the whole thing would stink like a boat. So I don't want that issue. In here, these are just cabinets. I decided to go with a little bit of lighter color with the wood, just because to kind of like change it all up. Got the ebony up here, the chestnut here. And then with these, they all have these cool little locks with leather straps for opening and closing. Snack drawer. In here I've got all the van info, so all of my warranty information, the van information, separate parts, all the manuals, things like that. And then in here, get it back in for you. So in here is where I keep my propane tank, and that's for the heater. And that also runs off the whole tank is in there. It's very easy to get in and out. It's a solid system, and most of it is controlled right from these two knobs here. So I got the webasto for my heat is right here, and this is my hot water controller, so I can set the temperature to whatever it is I want it, which is really convenient. Otherwise you're just getting blasted with super hot water. Up here, I guess I'll jump up on the bed to show you the size comparison. So, got a lot of headspace. Like I said before, I'm like 5'7", so it's not really saying much. There's a lot of headspace, but little awning style windows. I plan on building some more cabinets in here because you don't really need all this headspace, and I could use more storage. So that's a project for another day. I got another controller for the fan up here, so it's blowing air on me while I sleep, or pulling hot air out. Either one, your choice. Actually, I'll shut that off. And then, so the bed is a custom bed. Basically, I was going with kind of like a lower brand one just to save some money, and then that one, the shipping was going to take too long, and I was going to pick up the van. It was the last thing to be done was to put the bed in. But we found a more expensive, nicer one, like the day before I was supposed to pick it up. And I tell you what, it was 100% worth it to spend that extra couple of bucks on getting the nicer bed. It is way more comfortable. It's like one of the Tempur-Pedic ones. So you just kind of fold into it.
Can you walk us through the process of how one would go about obtaining a van? I guess you send it to Tourig and to Patavans. Is that?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, so I went to a dealership near me for a Mercedes dealership, and I bought an empty cargo van. Just nothing fancy about it, just whatever I can get for the bare minimum. And then I took, basically I just set up a whole thing with Tourig first, and I went online, did a lot of research as far as my options for, everything for the exterior I started with. So I looked at all the Aluminess stuff, the bumpers, the awning on the side, roof racks, tires, all that kind of stuff. And then I called them up, and they're awesome to work with. If I ever make another one, I'm going straight to them. Even though they're all the way out in Colorado and I'm in Jersey, 100% going with them. And I set up a whole thing with them, went through a list of all the added parts and, delivery times and how long everything would be. And I sent it to them, then worked out the deal with Patavans as far as interior, what kind of wood, how long it was going to take, dimensions of everything in here from the bed frame. I chose to go with more storage in the back. I could have extended this wall further back and had the bed hang over a little bit and have more room here, but I did have a ton of stuff, so I want more room for storage. And then, so after I finished with Tourig, it just kind of worked out because they were close. One's in Boulder, one's in Golden, and they drove it over to Patavans, and he took over for the next 3 months or so. And then, so as far as how you go about doing it, first drawing out a plan as what you want, I had 30 different drawings of interior, sizes of everything and the layout, but ultimately I kind of changed my mind right at the end. So spend most of your time coming out with a layout, and then pick the van that you want. There's the 144, which is a little bit smaller. You got the 170, and then which is this, and then the 170 extended, which is just a behemoth. That thing's awesome. I went with this 170 because I'm used to driving vans for work, and the maneuverability of a 170 is pretty awesome. We're sitting in a park right now, and I'm in a regular parking spot with really, hanging over maybe an extra 3 feet in front of the lines, which is pretty nice in a van this size. So yeah, the process is just going into a Mercedes dealership or finding a used one and starting there, building out your plan and going from that point.
Now, what was your background before this? Is this your first motorhome that you've ever had? Or
No.
tent camped?
So the first van I ever had was a 1987 Toyota Hiace, and I lived in New Zealand for a while, and I bought it for $2,200, and I put $500 into it, and it was a quarter of the size of this. It's basically from here to the front of the vehicle, and it just had a bed, and it was just a pure, roughing it kind of van, and I lived in that for a year, and that's kind of where I fell in love with the whole ability to move your house. It's just, I don't know, man, it's a different kind of feeling, just being able to have everything you need in one spot, and then being able to move that spot as you see fit. You want to go spend a day at the beach, or a couple weeks at the beach, and you just drive over, find a spot, and it's way easier to find places to stay in these things than you originally think, which is nice. Everybody thinks that you're gonna get kicked out of every spot. It's not really the case. And so I spent time in that, and then I dabbled in other vans and stuff like that, and I've been dealing with them forever for work, so I've got a lot of experience with vans, and you know, driving this thing is like as easy as driving like a little car for me. Not to sound kind of like cocky, but it's just, I've gotten used to it, is an easier way to put it.
So this is pretty fresh. You got it this year, well last year, then just started using it, I guess, earlier this year. What are your travel plans? I mean, this is pretty rugged off-road four-wheel drive vehicle. What are your travel intentions going to be?
So basically, I want to do a lot of the Western U.S. and Canada for starters. My first big trip, well, I'm taking it down to Virginia in a couple of weeks, go camping down there with some buddies, and then first big trip, I'm getting out to Utah, I think, I'm hoping by the end of next month, end of November, and then Texas, there's a surf park, there's a BSR surf park in Waco, Texas, that I really want to get to. I'm super excited about that. I want to take this out there and spend like a week or two kind of putzing around Texas, but Utah, I get out in those canyons, and there's plenty of places to take this off-roading where I can just kind of set up camp. Lots of parks out there. So as far as the intentions, it's, I don't know, man. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You can just go anywhere you want.
We all know about the freedom once you get into a van or an RV that you gain, and having your house with you is unbelievable. Now, a van is never done. My van's not done. Everybody I've met, van's done. What are you doing next? What's next on your van?
Next on the list for the van was these cabinets I was talking about. I've got all this headspace, you know, above here, and realistically, I don't need it. So I want to basically extend these cabinets out until the end, and then put a small piece in the corner over here behind me. You know, like a little bookshelf and stuff like that. I try to do a bit of reading, and I just want space for all that kind of stuff. So,
any electronics or recovery gear? I know we talked about bikes off camera, trying to incorporate that.
Yeah, so bikes. So in the back, I would like to put a bike rack, similar to what you got. I think it's cool as hell. I have one of those, the fat tire bikes, and I have to bring it in and put it in here in the kitchen when I'm taking it somewhere, because I don't have a bike rack yet. So that would be something I could probably do that sooner rather than later. Yeah, I gotta figure out that bumper first. See if I can even make that an option.
Well, Jesse, thank you very much for taking the time today to give our viewers a tour of your beautiful custom Sprinter van. And I'm sure it's going to help a lot of our viewers that are in the research stages of building a van or an RV right now with some of the ideas here. So I will link to both of those vendors, and that way our viewers could understand where you went. This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love it, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Had a good time.